picture this scenario. You're staring at a blank screen. The clock is just ticking away. And
Ah, the absolute worst feeling.
right. And you have this massive project due in an hour. So you turn to your AI tool of choice. Maybe it's ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini.
Just like hoping for a total miracle.
Exactly. Hoping for miracles. So you type in something super simple like write a report on market trends, and you hit enter.
And let me guess. What you get back sounds like it was written by a corporate robot who just, I don't know, drank decaf coffee.
Yeah, it's grammatically correct, sure, but it's totally generic.
Yeah.
It's boring. And honestly, it's practically unusable for your actual meeting.
That is exactly the frustration so many of us run into. I mean, you hear all these incredible stories about how revolutionary the technology is.
Oh, totally.
But then when you actually try to use it for your daily tasks, it feels like you're talking to a dry textbook.
Yeah.
It honestly makes you wonder if everyone else has access to some secret premium version of the software that you just don't know about.
I completely understand that feeling. But the reality is you are using the exact same technology as the power users.
Wait, really? The exact same?
The exact same. The massive difference in quality comes down entirely to how you were asking the question.
Okay, so it's a user error situation.
Well, let's call it a technique adjustment. So the mission of our deep dive today is to give you 3 simple habits that will permanently transform your AI results.
And we aren't going to need any advanced coding tricks for this.
No, absolutely not. No weird developer jargon either.
Yeah.
We're just going to change your prompt.
Okay. Prompt.
Yeah, which is simply the industry term for the text message you send to the AI. That's all a prompt is.
It's funny because when you say prompt, my brain immediately imagines complicated lines of computer code.
A lot of people think that.
But you're saying it's literally just the English sentence I type into the little chat box. Like, if I just type plan a trip into that box, that's my prompt.
Exactly. Even if it's a terrible one.
Okay, fair enough.
Plan a trip is a prompt, but it's a classic example of setting the system up for failure. A good version of that exact same request looks entirely different.
How so?
Well, instead of 3 words, a great prompt looks like this. Plan a 5-day trip for a family of 4 with a $2,000 budget, visiting national parks in the Southwest, traveling in mid-October.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a lot more detail.
Right, and the difference in the answers you get from those 2 messages is literally night and day.
I can imagine.
And that stark contrast points us directly to the biggest realization you need to have about how these tools actually function behind the scenes.
Let me guess. The big realization is that the AI isn't a magical mind reader.
You hit the nail on the head.
Because the biggest trap I see people fall into is treating these tools like they have psychic abilities.
Yes, exactly.
We see the word smart attached to the technology, and we instantly assume it knows our context, like it knows our preferences and exactly what we actually want without us having to say it.
But it has absolutely no idea who you are. It doesn't know where you live or what you like until you explicitly put it into that text box.
So it's not being lazy.
No, it isn't lazy at all. It is just waiting for instructions. Think of it from an engineering perspective. The software starts as a completely blank slate every single time you open a new chat.
It doesn't carry over memories of your personality.
Right. It starts from 0.
Okay. Which makes a vague prompt incredibly unfair to the system when you think about it.
Totally.
I mean, you would never do that to a human being. If you hired a brilliant, capable, new executive assistant on their very first day,
Oh, that's a great analogy.
you wouldn't just walk up to their desk, drop a sticky note that says plan a trip, make it good, and then walk away.
You'd be a terrible boss if you did.
Right. You have to give them the background of the project and describe what the finished product should actually look like.
There's a perfect way to frame it. And if we treat the software like a highly capable but completely uninformed new assistant, the very first habit we need to build is giving it constraints.
Constraints. So narrowing things down.
Yes. We have to draw a box around what we want. The more conditions and specifics you provide, the less the AI has to guess.
So we're talking about our first big habit here, which is being specific.
Exactly. Habit number 1.
I'd love to see how that actually plays out in everyday situations. Take that travel example we just mentioned.
Sure.
If I just say recommend a trip, it usually gives me a useless list of generic tourist traps.
Yep. The Eiffel Tower, the Grand Canyon.
Right. But by specifying the destination type, the budget, the season, and the family size, I actually get a usable itinerary.
Because it doesn't have to guess.
How does this apply to something completely mundane, though, like figuring out what to eat for dinner.
Oh, it applies perfectly to everyday chores. A beginner will open the app and type, "What should I make for dinner?"
I am definitely guilty of that.
Most people are.
Mm.
And the system will likely spit out a complex recipe for, like, beef Wellington, or a generic pasta dish that requires 20 ingredients you definitely don't own.
Yeah, totally unhelpful for a random Tuesday.
Right. Instead, try being hyper-specific about your constraints. You type, "I only have tomatoes, eggs, and a little bit of cheese in my fridge."
Okay, giving it the inventory?
Exactly. Give me a vegetarian dinner recipe I can cook in exactly 10 minutes.
Oh, wow. That completely changes the dynamic.
It really does.
It takes the output from a generic food blog post to a highly personalized solution for my actual kitchen.
Yes.
I imagine it's the exact same principle for work tasks, too. Like, if I just type write an email, I'm going to get a wildly unpredictable result.
A very unpredictable result.
But if I type write a short, polite email to a highly valued client apologizing for a 3-day shipping delay.
Then you are getting a draft you can actually send.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The common beginner misunderstanding here is assuming that brevity is better.
Oh, because we're all used to Google.
Exactly. People are used to search engines. You type 2 or 3 keywords and hit search.
Yeah.
But AI chat tools aren't search engines.
So adding those tiny situational details fundamentally alters the text it generates.
It changes everything. But wait, I really want to unpack the underlying mechanism here. Let me explain why the AI desperately needs those details to function well.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah.
Because if the technology is so incredibly advanced, shouldn't it be able to figure out what a good trip or a good dinner looks like on its own?
You would think so, right?
Yeah. Why does it punish me with such boring answers when I give it a short prompt?
Well, it isn't punishing you at all. It's actually doing exactly what its underlying math dictates.
Yeah.
Yes, math. When you ask a vague question, you are forcing the AI to fill in the massive gaps in your prompt with its own guesses.
Okay, and how does it guess?
Here's how it guesses. It mathematically averages out all the text data it was ever trained on.
Wait, all the text data?
Yeah. Since it was trained on basically the entire internet, a vague prompt forces it to hand you the most average, generic, middle-of-the-road answer possible.
Ah, so when I ask for a trip without any details, I'm not getting my perfect trip.
No, definitely not.
I'm getting the statistical average of every single trip ever documented by anyone on the internet.
That is exactly what has happened.
It's like asking a friend to buy you a shirt without
Right.
telling them your size, your style, or your favorite color.
Right. What are they going to bring back?
They're going to bring you back a medium gray t-shirt. Because statistically, that is the safest, most average guess in the world.
Yes. If you want a tailored suit, you have to give the tailor your exact measurements.
That is such a good way to understand it. When you give it specific boundaries, you prevent it from resorting to the internet average.
But there is a crucial caveat here that trips up a lot of people.
Oh, what's the caveat?
There's this persistent myth that a longer prompt automatically equals a better prompt.
Oh, I've definitely seen people do that.
Yeah, people will write 5 paragraphs of rambling thoughts, thinking the sheer volume of text will make the AI perform better.
Like they're dumping their whole brain into the chat box.
Exactly. But it is not about word count or length at all. It is purely about relevant detail.
That is a massive relief, honestly. So I don't need to write a novel every time I want a recipe or an email.
No, please don't.
I just need to establish the strict boundaries of the playground. I give it the facts of my situation, and it does the heavy lifting.
Exactly. Just the relevant facts.
But even with the facts, sometimes the writing still sounds a bit, well, artificial.
A bit robotic.
Yeah, exactly. How do we fix that robotic tone?
So if giving it specifics provides the facts, the fastest way to fix a generic robotic tone is to give the AI a new identity.
An identity.
Yes. By telling the software who it is supposed to be, the tone, the vocabulary, and the entire perspective of the answer snap into place instantly.
Oh, I see.
This is our second major habit. Give the AI a role.
This is one of my favorite things to play with. You literally just start your message by assigning it a profession.
Yep, it's that simple.
Like you can type, you are an experienced fitness coach, or you are a patient, encouraging elementary school teacher.
And what happens when you do that?
It is wild how quickly it adopts the exact vocabulary and patience level of that profession. It completely changes the vibe of the conversation.
It does. And from a technical standpoint, it works because you are narrowing down that massive internet database again.
Oh, so it stops averaging out the whole internet.
Exactly. When you say you are a fitness coach, you are telling the system to only draw on the language patterns found in fitness and coaching articles.
That makes a ton of sense. It drastically focuses the output.
It does. However, we need to address a massive misunderstanding about how these roles actually function.
Wait, let me guess. Just because it sounds like an expert doesn't mean it actually is one.
You were spot on.
Because I've definitely noticed that when I tell it to act like a lawyer, it sounds incredibly authoritative. It uses all this dense legal jargon.
Right.
But I probably shouldn't take its advice straight to court, right?
No, you absolutely should not. That is a critical point. A role shapes the style and the tone of the writing, but it absolutely does not make the underlying facts more reliable.
So it's just a persona.
Exactly. Telling the software, you are a medical doctor, does not mean it is suddenly incapable of making a terrible, potentially dangerous medical mistake.
Right, it's not actually going to medical school.
Right. It will just deliver that mistake with a very soothing, professional bedside manner.
Okay, so the role is a stylistic filter, not a guarantee of truth. That is good to keep in mind.
Very important.
So now we have an assistant who has a specific persona, and we've given them all the relevant facts and constraints.
Yes.
That sounds like a recipe for success. Is there anything else holding back the quality of our results?
Yes, there is one more major hurdle. Even if you have a perfectly detailed prompt and a great role, if you hand this system a massive multi-layered project all at once, it will still stumble and produce a mediocre result.
Oh, really? Even with all the details?
Yes, it struggles with handling complex multi-step logic all in a single breath.
Oh, okay.
That brings us to our third habit. Break the task into manageable steps.
You know, that actually tracks with human behavior, too.
Yeah.
Well, if I want someone to write a 20-page research paper for me, I shouldn't just yell, write a paper and lock them in a room.
Exactly. That would be a disaster.
I need to act more like a project manager checking in on milestones.
Yes, exactly like a project manager.
So instead of asking for a full essay up front, I should start by saying, first, review my notes and suggest a 5-point outline.
Perfect. Sequential tasks yield drastically higher final quality from these systems.
Because it's not trying to juggle everything at once.
Right. Once it gives you the outline, you can review it, tweak it, and then reply, great, this outline looks good. Now write only section 1.
And then you just keep going.
Yep. When section 1 is done, you evaluate it, and then prompt it again. Now tighten the headings in section 1 to make them punchier.
I love that approach because it allows for course correction.
Exactly.
And it's like briefing someone stage by stage. If they start veering off track in section 1, you can fix it immediately.
Instead of waiting to the end.
Right. If you just ask for the whole essay at once, they might write 20 pages in the completely wrong direction, and you'd have to start over from scratch.
Which is incredibly frustrating.
But I think the trap here is that AI generates text so incredibly fast, literally in seconds.
Oh, yeah. That speed is deceiving.
Right. We falsely assume it can handle 10 complex mental steps perfectly on the very first try just because it types fast.
That is the exact trap. Speed does not equal complex reasoning capability. By slowing it down and forcing it to process one logical step at a time, you dramatically improve the quality of the final output.
Okay, so we have specifics, we have roles, and we have steps.
Yes. And now, once you have guided the system step by step all the way to the finish line, there is a bonus habit you should adopt to make the information actually usable for your specific needs.
Ooh, a bonus habit.
You need to tell it exactly how to present the final product to you.
You mean formatting, like taking control of how the text actually looks on the screen?
Yes, specifying the output format.
Because nothing is worse than asking for a summary and getting a massive, unreadable wall of text that makes your eyes glaze over.
Oh, I hate when that happens. You have complete control over the layout. You can explicitly command it. You say, answer using only bullet points, or organize this information into a 2-column table.
Okay, so you just tell it what to do.
Yeah, or ensure the final answer is kept strictly under 150 words. But beyond just asking for a format, there is an incredibly powerful trick.
Okay, I love a good trick.
The official developer guides from OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google all explicitly recommend this one trick for getting perfect layouts.
Oh, wow. I want to know the official developer trick.
I'll tell you.
If I want a highly specific layout, say a weekly meal planning template, how do I guarantee it gets it right instead of just hoping it understands my instructions?
Any guesses?
Do I just paste a blank template into the text box first?
That is exactly what you do.
Wait, really?
Yes. The most reliable trick in the entire industry is to show the AI one single example of what you want the final answer to look like.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Provide a sample answer. Even if it's just a dummy layout with placeholder text, the software will lock onto that pattern and mimic your structure perfectly.
That saves so much time. I think the mistake most people make is assuming the AI shares our definitions of business terms.
Oh, absolutely.
We ask for a report, assuming it knows we want a punchy half-page summary.
Right, because that's what a report means in your office.
Exactly. But to the software, the word report might mean a 100-page academic dossier.
Specifying the format removes all that ambiguity.
It totally eliminates the guesswork.
Now, these three habits, being specific, assigning a role, and breaking tasks into steps, plus controlling the format, will fundamentally upgrade your results.
I'm already rethinking all my prompts.
But before we combine them all into one ultimate prompt, we absolutely must discuss a massive red flag regarding what you were feeding into these chat boxes.
Okay.
Safety has to be part of this conversation.
I'm really glad we're touching on this because it's easy to get so comfortable chatting with the software that you forget it's essentially a public server.
It's not a private diary.
Right. You have to protect yourself. I always tell my friends, never, under any circumstances, paste personal, sensitive, or confidential company information into your prompts.
That is a golden rule. When you hit send, that data leaves your computer and is processed on an external server owned by a tech company.
Which means it's out of your control.
Completely. Unless you are using a specifically secured enterprise-level system that guarantees data privacy, you should assume whatever you type could potentially be used for future system training.
Yeah, you do not want your company's financials ending up in someone else's chat response next year.
Exactly. And the second part of that safety warning is about the outputs. Never trust the answer blindly.
This is the part that genuinely scares people.
I know.
The AI can get things completely wrong, but it delivers the wrong answer with absolute unwavering confidence.
Yes, it sounds very sure of itself.
It will invent a completely fake historical event or cite a scientific study that doesn't even exist using flawless grammar and a highly authoritative tone.
Yep.
How is that even possible if it's supposed to be an intelligent system? It feels like it's just lying straight to my face.
It feels like a lie, but technically it isn't consciously lying to you.
Because it's not conscious.
Right. Remember what we discussed earlier about how it functions. It is essentially a massive autocomplete engine.
Right, the math thing.
Yes. It is mathematically predicting the most likely next word in a sentence based on patterns. Sometimes, the math just confidently predicts the wrong word, creating a very convincing fiction.
Wow. Okay.
That is why you must always sanity check important facts yourself.
So we treat it like a brilliant, fast, but occasionally overconfident intern. We
Yeah.
verify the important stuff.
Exactly. Verify everything important.
Keeping that safety boundary in mind, I think it's time to see all of this in action.
Let's do it.
Can we do a live makeover of a terrible prompt and apply everything we've talked about today?
Absolutely. Let's build the ultimate prompt by combining our core habits: role, specifics, steps, and format.
Okay, I'm ready.
Let's start with a classic, terrible beginner prompt. Imagine someone just types, "Write a marketing post."
Oh, yeah. As we know, that is going to yield a generic, unusable wall of text.
Right. That's giving it zero constraints and letting it average out the entire internet. So let's fix it. First, we give it a role to establish the tone.
Okay.
We type, "You are an expert, persuasive tech marketer."
Boom. Immediately, we've locked in a professional, engaging voice.
Next, we add the specifics to build the fence around our facts.
Right, the constraint.
We add, "I'm launching a new budgeting app specifically designed for high school teens, and the launch date is next Friday."
Nice. Now it knows the audience, the product, and the timeline.
Then, instead of just asking for the post, we use our third habit and break it into steps.
Being the project manager.
Yes, we add, "First, brainstorm and give me 3 different ideas for a catchy opening hook."
Oh, I like that. This stops it from rushing the final product and lets us choose the best angle.
Exactly. Finally, we dictate the output format. We finish the prompt with, "Once I pick my favorite hook, write the final social media post in under 200 words using 3 bullet points to highlight the app's features."
That transformation is incredible. We went from write a marketing post to a highly structured set of instructions that guarantees a tailored professional result.
Night and day difference.
But I do have one concern.
What's that?
Looking at that final multi-sentence paragraph we just built, I worry that beginners might feel intimidated.
That's a fair point.
The biggest fear I hear is people thinking they have to memorize a giant, complex checklist before they are allowed to type a single word to the AI.
That is a very valid concern, and I want to be extremely clear. You do not need to do all of this perfectly today.
Good to know.
You don't need to memorize a checklist, and you don't need to use all 3 habits from day one. You just need to start small and experiment.
I love that. Pick just one habit to try today.
Exactly.
If you take away anything from this conversation, just focus entirely on being specific. On your very next question, before you hit send, take 10 seconds to add one extra sentence of context about your situation.
Just one sentence.
The difference in the answer will be obvious immediately, and it will prove to you how much control you actually have over these tools.
It really does come down to the instructions you provide. We spend so much time marveling at the technology, but the human element, how we communicate our needs, is what actually unlocks its potential.
It really makes you reconsider our relationship with these systems. A vague prompt is like going to a restaurant, sitting down, and just ordering food.
Yeah, you really can't be mad when the waiter brings you a plate of plain boiled cabbage.
Exactly. You get exactly what you asked for.
That is the perfect way to look at it. And it leaves us with a really fascinating thought to chew on.
Oh.
If this software can perfectly mimic any expert role, format data in any layout,
Yeah.
and adopt any tone based entirely on how we ask the question, are we rapidly moving into a world where the ability to ask the right question is actually a much more valuable skill than simply knowing the right answer?
Wow. That is a wild thought.
Something to think about the next time you're staring at a blank text box.